Hey guys, this is Substitute Topher here for the Topher, and today we're driving the 2023 Kia Niro plug-in hybrid. This is powered by a 1.6-liter inline 4-cylinder engine with an electric motor. Combined power output is 180 horsepower and 190 pound-feet of torque. Power is sent to the front wheels via a 6-speed dual-clutch automatic transmission, and this is a totally new Kia Niro for the 2023 model year. This thing is entirely new from the ground up, and I'm excited to show you the outside of this car because it is quite striking and it looks just totally different than the last generation. So we'll walk you around it and then we'll go for a short drive around San Diego, California. Let's take a look at this thing. So here it is. This one is a SX touring model, so top of the line for plug-in hybrid. We don't have pricing yet, but if we do have it by the time this video is posted, we will put it in right here so you all know how much this car costs. And look at the design on this car. It's a little bit, I don't know, what is the word? It's a little bit outrageous in my opinion, and mostly because of what Kia calls the aero blades. I hope that I got that right. But they're these like Audi R8-ish little design elements here on the back 3/4 view of the car. Its airflow goes right here, right behind the rear door and out behind the taillight. So you can see we have these little vents here that go all the way through. I don't think on camera, maybe you can see right here on camera how that is actually a pass-through. So kind of neat. Otherwise, and to be honest, other than the aero blades, the design isn't super crazy, but it's a large departure from the last model, which really just looked like any other car. And I think this is pretty important in this class of vehicles to have something that looks just a little bit different, because everybody is making these subcompact crossovers now, so you have to stand out, and boy is this a way to stand out with this massive aero blade here on the side of the Niro. Let's take a look at the rear cargo space here. New on this generation of Niro is a power liftgate. You couldn't have that on the last generation. You can see here, we'll look without the seats folded down first, you got a pretty good amount of room back here. Underneath, looks like we've got some sort of a subwoofer or something. Fuel tank sits up pretty high. Of course, with this being the plug-in, you do lose a little bit of storage underneath. On the non-hybrid, or excuse me, on the regular traditional hybrid car, you do have quite a bit more room under there, as well as the EV. With these seats folded down, you get 54.6 cubic feet of storage room, and that is pretty decent. We don't get a completely flat load surface here. As you can see, the seats do make the rear area here go up just ever so slightly, but it is a pretty good amount of room back here, to be honest. All right, cool. Let's fold those back seats back up and sit in the back seat and see what that is like. We do have 2 more inches of rear legroom than we had in the previous generation Niro. We'll have to see what that translates to in real world situations here. I'll go ahead and sit behind myself. Okay. So I'm 5'11", and sat behind myself here, I do honestly have a decent amount of room, but it's still not as big as something like the Honda HR-V or even the Honda Civic has a little bit more room in the back. But with that being said, I do still feel comfortable back here. It's a weird material to set your elbows on. It's almost, oh, spiky isn't the right word, but it's like a rough surface to set your left elbow on. Luckily, right elbow gets set on this armrest, which is quite soft. And this may be kind of a unique impression, but similar to the Kia EV6, I think these front seats from this angle look like Randall from Monsters, Inc. And I'll put a picture of him right here so you know what I'm talking about. But that purple lizard, the seat totally looks like him the way that it bends up like that. But pretty unique design there on those front seats. USB-C ports on either side here, so you can plug your devices in. The armrest up is a little more open back here. And once we get up front, we'll talk about some of the materials that they've used in here because they are certainly unique. Let's take a look at that dashboard layout before we actually hop up front. Okay, seeing some similarities to the Kia EV6. I think the EV6 kind of pioneered this whole new generation of these electric and efficient Kia vehicles. Here's our charge port. You can see no level 3 charging here, of course, as range is only about 33 miles. Let's take a look under the hood. at this 1.6 liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder engine. Excuse all the beeping that we're doing here. But this is it, 180 horsepower, 195 foot-pounds of torque. It's always interesting to me when hybrids and plug-in hybrids have traditional transmissions with gears instead of a CVT. It always adds a level of uniqueness to the car. Also, they're calling these running lights the heartbeat running lights because they do look like a heartbeat. Kind of neat, as you can see here. This SX touring package car is running on 225, 45, 18 all-season Continental tires. All right, let's talk interior materials because there are some quite peculiar things that they've used in this new Niro. So to start off, I want to talk about the headliner, which may sound funny, but this headliner, they claim, is made out of recycled wallpaper. Now, how do they know that it's wallpaper? I'm not entirely sure, but perhaps even weirder, the seat upholstery is made out of eucalyptus leaves. So you've got Randall from Monsters, Inc., and he's made out of eucalyptus leaves. That is what we have for our seats, our seat upholstery in the Niro. What does it feel like, you may be wondering? Well, it feels kind of like leather, but it feels more plasticky to me than leathery. Leather usually feels quite soft, and this feels, I mean, you can definitely tell that this is artificial leather. I won't lie to you guys. But it definitely doesn't feel bad. We do have heated and cooled functions on these seats, which both work very well. Dial shifter down here in the middle. The dial shifter comes on the plug-in hybrid and the EV Niro. If you get the traditional hybrid non-plug-in, it has a traditional shifter on it, like a pistol grip shifter. But I kind of prefer the dial because it opens things up in here quite a bit, and this is a nice feeling dial. As far as infotainment goes, we have the pretty standard 10.25-inch touchscreen display here. Very standard Kia infotainment. We've got our home screen here on the left-hand side and our 2 pages of apps. Wireless Apple CarPlay, and of course everything beeps when you touch it, but you are able to turn that off, luckily. Moving over to the cluster is a totally new look here. We saw this first on the new Hyundai Palisade. Kia and Hyundai have totally changed their cluster designs, which I think was needed. We had these really old looking circular gauges prior to this that were kind of hard on the eyes. When you're in normal mode, they were white face gauges and they were kind of hard to look at. But here in the Niro plug-in hybrid, we have 2 drive modes, Eco and Sport. Simple as that. That's all you need. In Eco mode, they are a teal color, and in Sport, they turn red to be nice and sporty. Very just kind of digital looking gauges. We've got very normal looking RPM and speed counters there. Fuel gauge down here on the left, and a gauge for our battery on the right. As you can see right now, we've got 27 miles of electric range to work with. We have an EV mode that we can put the car in, and switch back and forth from electric to automatic to hybrid. So you've got 3 different settings as far as that goes. So that is pretty nice. I think we'll start out in electric mode today and see how that works. Steering wheel is very similar, if not identical, to the one you get on the Kia EV6. Of course, drive mode selector down here, and all of the buttons look very, very familiar. I'm a fan of this steering wheel. I know a lot of people don't like it, but I like a good 2-spoke steering wheel, especially in a car with all of these lane keep assist and radar cruise functions that make this car essentially drive itself on the highway. It's nice sometimes to just rest your hand down here in the middle and let the car do all the work for you. So one more thing before we go on the road. Similar again to the Kia EV6, we have our panel down here which doubles as a climate control and a navigation and volume screen. I generally leave it on the climate mode because I like to be able to adjust my temperatures on the fly. And I know you'd say, oh, well, what about your volume knob? Well, you're able to control that up here with this button on the steering wheel. But obviously, if you want to use the knob, it is available for you to use here. And the tune knob over here on the right is available for you as well. But I think I'm going to leave it on the climate panel for our drive today. Well, let's go ahead and take this Kia Niro plug-in hybrid for a drive. A short drive, probably. And see what it's like on the road. Backup camera here, as well as a backup sound. You can hear that chiming. Kind of just the typical noise for Kias and Hyundais when they reverse. And keep in mind, we are in EV mode, so we'll be able to see how this electric motor performs by itself. Combined power output is 180 horsepower, but by itself we get 41 horsepower in this little bitty electric motor. 0 to 50 there felt pretty quick. You can feel the assist come in from that electric motor. And well, this thing gets off the line pretty nice. Go ahead and switch us back into eco mode so we aren't holding gears for as long. The 6-speed dual clutch automatic does a pretty good job in this car of disguising itself as just a regular automatic. You don't really even notice that it's a dual clutch. Obviously, the sort of people that are going to buy this car are really not going to care too much if it's a dual clutch or just traditional automatics. Very smooth shifts, very linear power delivery, and just an overall nice experience here from this transmission. I'm quite pleased with it. Sometimes you get nervous when there's still a 6-speed in a modern car. And I've driven the regular hybrid and I've driven the EV. Drove them both earlier prior to this car. What's up with these weird speed bumps through this town? Anyways, and the 6-speed felt a little bit different in just the regular hybrid car. I didn't like it quite as much, but it feels more at home here in the plug-in. Something else that's weird though about these Kias is that even though this has an electric motor, it's in front of the transmission. So even when you're in EV mode, it's still shifting gears. It's a very, very weird feeling. All right, turning circle test. Gonna rip a U-turn here. Oh, easily done. And the light steering, it's just a pleasure to go around that corner. Very nice. We got to watch out for all of these speed bumps that sneak up on you, as well as pedestrians. Chilling now in EV mode, and it's pretty quiet. You do actually get a little bit of road noise here from these Continental tires, and I don't know if that's just kind of a lack of sound deadening here in the car, but you do certainly have some road noise. Good feel through that brake pedal, even though this is a hybrid / plug-in hybrid. Pretty linear and solid feel on that brake pedal, no squish at all. Let's try out this lane keep steering assist here. Sorry, that was off and I turned it on. Okay, there we go. So of course, with this being a Kia, we do have steering assist and it works an absolute treat. I drove this car a bit on the highway earlier in regular hybrid form, and the thing pretty much drove itself. We love to see these systems in the Kias and Hyundais because they just do such a fantastic job. It hasn't even yelled at me to steer yet. It's still doing it for me. It's probably gonna want me to steer up here though, because it splits into a couple different lanes. Yep. Okay, let's switch this into hybrid mode and feel this 1.6 liter just a little bit more before we wrap things up for the day. We do have paddle shifters here on the steering wheel, and I believe they should be multi-purpose. They can either take us through our different gears. Wow, that's a big dog in that car. I hope you guys can see that. Massive Great Dane in this car to my right. Look at him. He's huge. Oh my goodness. All right, let's actually go back into EV mode for just a second because I want to show what these paddles do. So when you're in normal hybrid mode, they are used to control your gears, but when you're in EV mode, they control your regen. So you click left or on the down paddle here to get maximum regen, and you can take away and reduce your regen with the right paddle. So that's kind of neat. Let's see if we can come to a complete stop with just regen. I know you could on the EV. Sometimes if you hold the paddle as well, it'll regen you faster. Here, I'll get a little bit closer up here. Try not to rear end this Audi, but it looks like, see if this will bring me to a complete stop. It will. So if you hold the paddle, my foot was not on the brake there. With a plug-in hybrid there, we're able to come to a complete stop just on regen. That is pretty cool. You should be able to. Okay, so even when you're in EV mode and you press all the way down on the gas pedal, it will put you back into ICE mode. Which is good, because if you're, in an emergency situation, you're in EV mode, you really need to make a move. If you floor it, it'll give you all the power, as opposed to just 41 horsepower that we get from this electric motor. And I know, guys, we're not on any twisty roads, unfortunately, and I do apologize for that. But trust me when I say I did drive this on some twisty roads, and I will have the I'll have the TheTopher link the Winding Road Magazine video down below, which will show you what the performance was like on this Niro out on the twisty roads. And honestly, it was pretty good. It felt pretty balanced. Weirdly, the regular hybrid car felt a little bit heavier and like clumsier than the EV. So I don't know what the purpose was or what the reason was for that. The ride quality is very nice. You just got McPherson struts up front and a multi-link rear suspension, and it does a pretty good job. You know, I haven't had any issues as far as comfort goes all day. The eucalyptus seats do a pretty good job keeping you comfortable and cool. All right, let's do one more acceleration here in automatic mode, but we'll leave it in eco this time. We'll give it a full beans. Whew. Changing the road surface there. Give these people some room. Ooh, and let's try and stop on just regen. Oh, are we gonna be able to do it? Come on, car. I'm holding that left paddle. I think it's gonna do it. Yes! Stopping there on only regen. But now it's creeping. Oh, but I can stop it again with the paddle. Okay, now I'll put my foot on the brake. We do have auto hold as well, though, so if you don't want to put your foot on the brake, well, then just stay in auto hold. No sort of panoramic moonroof or anything, just a regular sunroof here as I move back the wallpaper so you guys can see the glass there. Visors extend, that's good. We've got a mirror here, but you have to manually turn the light on yourself. Dome lights, looks like those are LEDs. A little bit of wheel spin off the line. Oh, the car is not happy with me. Weird stutter there. I don't know what that was. So with these plug-in hybrid and regular hybrid vehicles, there is a way to automatically engage EV driving. So the car will use its brain and its navigation system to sense when you're in a city center or in a town or in a school zone, and it will automatically put you into EV mode. And it doesn't matter if you're using Apple CarPlay or anything, the car will just kind of use its internal navigation to sense where you're at, and it's able to do that for you. You can toggle that on and off in the settings. Green zone EV drive, so that's turned off right now, but if you toggle that on, maximizes EV driving to protect the environment. Well, thank you, Kia. And well, it does exactly what I just said that it does, and we'll leave that on for the next person, I suppose. You've also got smart regen, which automatically adjusts your regen levels to optimize that for wherever you are, you know, in driving scenarios. I had that on earlier in the mountain road, and I could certainly feel it changing what it was doing, so kind of neat. Look at this rad old Toyota van in front of us. And when I say Toyota van, I mean Toyota van, because that is just called the Toyota van. All right, guys, well, that's going to wrap up our first impressions here on the Kia Niro plug-in hybrid. Again, apologies for not really going on any spirited or twisty driving roads today, but we just got to work with what we have sometimes when we're out in California and out on one of these events. Make sure to check links to watch videos if you're curious to learn about the regular hybrid car. We did one of those on Winding Road. And if you're curious to see driving impressions on the EV, I filmed that for Daily Motor. So if you want to see either of those videos, you will have access to those in the description. But for now, that'll wrap it up for us today, and that'll wrap it up for the Kia Niro plug-in hybrid. Push button there for park in the middle of our dial. Let's do one more walk around, and then that'll be it for us today. Pretty attractive color here on this car. I don't know, what do you guys think about these air blades that they have on the back here? It's interesting to me that you can't have them in body color. You think that they would give you an option, because not all people are going to want to have this big striking body line back here that is very kind of in your face. But I mean, personally, I like it. I think that I would have it if I was going to have a Niro. But I think that might deter some people from buying this car just because it is so in your face. But anyways, so those have been my first impressions here on the 2023 Kia Niro plug-in hybrid. Make sure to stay tuned for a full in-depth review on whatever powertrain of the Niro we get back at HQ. But for today, that's going to wrap it up for us. Thank you guys all so much for watching. We'll see you very soon in the next video. Take care.